In the woods of Switzerland, a 6-foot-tall figure in a gas mask and cloak stalked the woods. In another forest, a man and his grandson froze as a 12-foot-tall creature roared like a lion. And in Oregon, a town was terrified by a mechanical scream that echoed through the night. To this day, no one knows what it was. These are disturbing forest discoveries that no one can explain. Back in the late 90s, people living near the village of Mals in Switzerland started seeing something strange in the woods. It was not an animal. It was this tall figure, about 6'3", dressed head to toe in a dark boiler suit and a greenish camouflage cloak with an old gas mask. People started calling it Le Loyan, or the Ghost of Mals. One woman said she came across it quietly picking flowers on a trail. When it realized she was watching, it froze, and she said it had flowers in its hands. I saw it clearly. It was not human in how it moved. The sightings went on for years. People snapped multiple photos of this person. Then the media started reporting on the sightings, and Le Loyan became a household name, in Switzerland anyway. Then in 2013, hikers found the cloak and mask abandoned in the woods, along with a handwritten note titled Death Certificate and Testament of the Ghost of Mals. In it, the writers said they were displeased by the fame the photos had brought, and no one's seen this person since. This series of photos were posted to Reddit a couple weeks back by SnakeTree1911, who wrote, "I work as a land steward in the northeastern part of the US. Part of my job is reviewing images taken by our game cams. We recently pulled a cam from a fairly remote area, which hasn't been checked in a long time. These images caught my eye. None of the naturalists on our staff could ID this thing. I'm not sure if I believe in cryptids or whatever, but I don't know what this thing is. It's not a deer, it certainly isn't a bobcat, and if it's a black bear, it's the biggest one I've ever seen." I included a daytime photo so you can see that it's not just some weird shaped rock or whatever. I don't know, let me know what you think. And I will pose that same question to all you fine people watching. What do you think? Did a fisherman just capture footage of the real-life gill man? Apparently a guy was fishing near Barnegat Bay in eastern New Jersey when he saw something poke its head out of the water. He had no idea what he was looking at. The more he looked at it, the thing just kept rising and rising until the whole upper half of its body was out of the water, and it was clear that this was not your ordinary animal. I mean, yikes. How'd you like to be swimming in the water with this thing? I gotta say, this creature looks pretty convincing. Definitely gives me the ick, but there are a couple fun comments that I wanna mention as well. One person says, "This is BS. If anyone saw that, they'd run, not record for 3 minutes," which, fair enough. I can see where they're coming from there, but someone else responded, "It's called a stare down. The person out of fear and the frog out of confusion. Hence the term scared stiff." Also a good point, but I really just love that they called this thing a frog. And also someone else commented, "This is what happens when people stop eating frog legs." People just love calling this guy a frog. I don't know what frogs you people are looking at, but anyway. This next clip was shared by Sunny Vader on YouTube. The footage was captured by campers in Clearwater County, Alberta last month. The uploader had been tearing down their camp when they spotted this large, dark figure lurking in the trees nearby. He managed to quietly capture the thing on camera before it made its way back into the woods. They probably thought it was a bear at first, but after zooming in on the thing with the camera, they probably immediately changed their mind. It seems to be standing upright. Not that bears can't do that, but they usually won't for very long. It looks to me like this is a massive, hairy ape man spying on a couple hikers in the woods. On March 21st, something strange was spotted floating low over the rooftops in Saladin, Iraq, and yes, there's video of it. So as you can see, this strange object has a very odd shape. It looks like you took a flying saucer and then made it vertical. It almost looks like Boba Fett's Slave One from Star Wars. It also looks like it has these long trailing tendrils like a jellyfish, not like any drone I've ever seen. The object drifted smoothly over the buildings and a local managed to capture it on camera. The clip quickly spread online, just another piece of video to add to the growing list of UFO sightings this year. People who saw it described it as otherworldly and eerily silent. Some think it might be high-tech military equipment, others think this may actually be proof of something not from this world. But What do you all think? Now, stepping away from frogmen, aliens, and Sasquatch for a moment, let's talk about some mysterious jellyfish that were spotted just a few months back. The video shows two types of jellyfish that no one's ever seen before. At least ones that haven't been documented by science. The footage comes from researchers at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA. First up is this one here. A very bizarre looking creature. It's so hard to make sense of. It's just so different from anything we see day to day here on land. Almost looks like it belongs in space. As one of the researchers said while filming the thing though, "I've never seen one of those. Have you?" And then another researcher's like, "Nope." They also captured footage of this smaller jellyfish. NOAA scientists couldn't identify this one either. Both were found during a deep sea dive off the northeastern coast of the US near Newport, Rhode Island. We see so many supposed videos of Bigfoot, but barely ever any dogman videos. Well, that all changes today. This dashcam footage comes out of Bladensboro, North Carolina. A man drove up to his property late at night when he got the fright of his life. Some big hairy creature had been lurking just outside his home, but his headlights hit it and the thing scuttled off into the trees. Not in the most graceful manner, I must add. This dogman is rather dainty in its movements, does this kind of toddler hop as it moves away. It can't be too hard on Dogman though. He's not as used to being in the spotlight, always being outshined by the ever so famous Sasquatch. Well, you wanted clear footage of a cryptid. Here it is. It's not often we get supposed Sasquatch footage this clear and up close. Usually these videos are shot from a distance and the creature is almost impossible to make out. I know I say this almost every time I show a Bigfoot video, but understand that I sift through a lot of garbage and I just don't bother putting most of these videos on lists like this because these videos aren't meant to put you to sleep. Although if you use them for that, I'm not offended. Close your eyes, go back to bed. Is this video genuine though? I mean, how can I say for sure? I do like it, I'll say that. There's more going on here than a monkey suit from Party City. This thing looks to have some bulk to it. There's color variation in the fur. If it is a hoax, I think it's pretty well done. Well, this is a freaky piece of footage. Not only is there a massive dead cow floating through the water, there's something under it. Gonna guess that something was involved in the death of the cow. I mean, good lord, look at the size of this thing. There's a full-on dinosaur swimming in this river. Of course, this is a croc or a gator. I couldn't actually find where this video was filmed, but the thing is an absolute beast. I know, very insightful of me. Take a look at this strange photo. Picture was snapped on Navajo land between cornfields and Greasewood, Arizona. It's been making the rounds on social media lately. According to the person who shared it, her aunt snapped the picture at the end of a small canyon after hearing weird noises while tending livestock on her property. There's not much more info about it, other than claims that the creature was seen again a few days later. The family chose not to go after it. They figured it was best to just leave it alone. Wise. Apparently stories about creatures like this have been told in the area for generations though. What do you think of this one? Only explanation that I have outside of this being a genuine Sasquatch, of course, is a black bear. There are black bears in Arizona. I'm not sure if they frequent this specific area. If anyone from Arizona can enlighten me in the comments, that would be great. A video from Buenos Aires this week has gotten people talking about possible demons or something strange. Very strange. This short blurry clip that's been getting shared around quite a bit on social media, at least on the forums I check out, shows what looks like a street or garden in Argentina. Here we can see some sort of bizarre dark figure crawling on all fours toward the camera while a few dogs walk around in the background. The creature seems to have very long spindly limbs, but it's hard to see clearly because it's dark and the video quality isn't really the best. Local news says this happened in the town of Saladillo, and people living there are reportedly scared of whatever it was. Some witnesses have called it demonic and say it has inhuman agility that lets it climb walls and jump between trees. A local firefighter who didn't want to give his name said that, quote, something was going on. Another witness added, he's something big. He doesn't walk on all fours, he walks backwards. He's disjointed, he comes apart, his head is upside down while his body moves in an impossible way. All of that said in Spanish, of course.
We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with the little girl. What the actual heck? Okay? Is this little girl a deer whisperer, or is she a lost child that has been raised by deers? We might never know. This is an image taken from the woods in Rowan, North Carolina. It was anonymously submitted to news station WBTV in 2017. The person said the news was allowed to make a story out of the image as long as his name was never shared. Immediately, it attracted a lot of attention. Some say it's a ghost of a girl that died in the area. Others say it's just a hoax. Either way, it's beyond creepy. Coming in at number 4, we have the chupacabra. The chupacabra is a creature that likes to attack animals and drain them completely of their blood. They were first reported in 1995 in Puerto Rico when farmers found their goats, sheep, and other domestic animals uneaten but just drained of blood, as if they were attacked by a vampire. And this photo right here is believed to be evidence of a chupacabra. Chupacabras have been described in a variety of ways, from a weird reptilian kangaroo with red eyes to a hairless canine. Some even say it has wings. Now let's take a look at this image again. What's weird is that both creatures in the photos look like two different versions of the chupacabra. The one on the left looks like a reptilian kangaroo, whereas the one on the right looks like it has horns and wings. Weird, isn't it? Maybe there are multiple breeds of chupacabras, which makes sense as to why there are different recorded descriptions of it. Now, if this isn't the legendary chupacabra, then what the heck is it? Coming into our 3rd spot today, we have oh deer. Now this is probably the darkest and scariest image on here out of all of them. Now it is fairly graphic, so it will be censored, but alas, don't worry, I'm here to describe it to you. This image features a deer with another deer stuck to its antlers. One problem, that one deer is decapitated. He was literally traveling around with his dead friend stuck to the side of his head. It can't get more gruesome than that. How that happened in the first place is beyond me. Moving on to number 2, we have the bride-to-be. This eerie photo was taken by new landowners in upstate New York. They were going to use this property as a hunting area, so they set up a trail camera to make sure nobody else was also using this area to hunt. But they ended up capturing something out of their nightmares. Now legend goes that a 17-year-old girl was killed in that area on her wedding night. So the couple believe that they captured a photo of this girl's ghost wandering around trying to get revenge on her killer. And in our number 1 spot today, we have the Bigfoot. This image was taken on September 16th of 2009 and features some sort of furry creature moving about. In one image, it looks as if the creature is praying or doing the downward dog position. In the other image, it's walking along on its all fours and kind of like a monkey. This photo was taken by hunter Rick Jacobs in Pennsylvania's Allegheny National Forest. According to Jacobs, the camera was fastened to a tree about 150 miles northeast of Pittsburgh. He had hoped to get some photos of some deer, but he managed to capture what everyone thinks is Bigfoot. In fact, he even contacted the Bigfoot Research Organization, which I didn't know was real, but it is, and he submitted his findings to them. Group member Paul Mahita thinks that it is a photo of a young Sasquatch, whereas others believe that it is a diseased bear. Either way, it's kinda creepy, especially if it really is the Bigfoot. Starting off this countdown, we have the mysterious figure. Several years ago, this photo went viral on the internet. We still don't know who posted it, but soon it made its round on a number of platforms. The picture features an eerie looking figure standing in the forest alone. It's hard to tell if they're facing away or towards the camera, but they do appear to be dressed in a long nightgown or something like that. To this day, nobody knows what this figure is of, but a number of paranormal blogs blogs believe that whatever it is captured in this photo is not human or living, and we still don't know who the original poster of this photo is. In our 9th spot today, we have the rake. The rake is this creepy humanoid creature with hollow black eyes and gaunt features. In 2003, a number of people in northeastern US reported sightings of this creature. The sightings were mainly from upstate New York. The scariest thing was shortly after there was a media blackout. Afterwards, no information on this creature was available. That was until 2006 when a group of internet sleuths decided to compile their own records of the rake. While doing so, they came across this ghostly image. In the image, we see a deer and a creepy figure in the back. They believe this to be the rake. If not, then it is Lord Voldemort from the first Harry Potter movie. Like, look at that face. Doesn't it look like when Voldemort was on the back of Professor Quirrell's head? Yes. In our 8th spot, we have the woman in a nightgown. On October 15th of 2015, a forum on texasbowhunter.com encouraged people to post their spookiest trail cam pics. And a user named Chew definitely won this. He posted a photo of what appears to be a ghostly woman in a nightgown bending over. According to Chew, this photo was taken on his ranch. So his plot of land came with a cemetery where back in the day slaves were buried. So could this be one of the slaves murdered there? The scariest part is that days prior he found bare human footprints in the area. He was sketched out because the area is pretty far away from roads or other houses. And then a little while later, his camera picked up this image. To this day, they don't know who this woman is or why she was on his land, or if she's even living. In our 7th spot today, we have the Rake Part 2. Chances are, if you're into scary videos or urban legends, then you have at some point seen this creepy image on the internet. Well, guess what? I finally got down to the bottom of it and figured out where this image came from. So it was posted on a website's forum called Archery Talk. One of the users, who goes by the name Hillbilly Willie, posted this image saying his wildlife cam had captured it. It was posted on December 2nd of 2010. According to the guy, when he went to retrieve the camera, the ground directly in front of the tree was completely tore up, and the trail cam had been torn off the tree. The camera was laying face down about 10 feet in front of the tree that it was attached to. The tree also had some of its bark scratched off. When he checked his camera, he came across this photo. What do you think? A number of people believe that this is again photographic evidence of the rake. In our 6th spot today, we have the survivor. This trail cam snapped a photo of what looks to be just regular images of a forest in Finland. But something clearly triggered the camera to take this photo. So something was moving about there. So the anonymous person that owned the camera decided to analyze the photos more in depth. And that's when they discovered a human figure located to the far right of the frame in the photo. The figure appears very tall, skinny, and gaunt looking. It honestly took me a bit to see it. Now here's the creepy part. Apparently there had been a plane crash in the area previously. So could this be a survivor of the crash? Or the ghost of one of the victims? Who knows?
Next on the list we have the ghost. So take a look at this image. What do you see? Well, obviously there is, once again, another deer in the foreground looking up at something. But just what the hell is that in the background? It's hard to make out exactly what this odd shape is. To me it looks like a naked Voldemort howling at the moon. It looks ghostly too, only the bust is fully formed. The rest of it looks like it fades out, almost like mist. Maybe there's a pond behind the deer and that's what this thing is, like maybe submerged in. It's hard to tell, but this is kind of a freaky image. A pale, bald ghost screaming in pain behind a confused deer. I can make out what looks to be a brow ridge, a wide open mouth. Whatever it is, it looks like to have maybe a gaunt, almost skeletal face. This would actually make for a perfect black metal album cover. Just throw some overly complex, indistinguishable text on there and you're good. Next up we have the clown. These mysterious images have been floating around online since at least 2010. They could even have been taken before, no one is exactly sure. We're not even 100% sure where the trail cam photos were taken, so this could very well be a hoax. But if it isn't, and someone's trail cam just happened to snap a couple pictures of some mysterious man in a clown costume roaming around in the forest, then that makes these images very nightmarish. The image was used in a news story about the string of weird clown sightings that happened in the summer of 2016. Anyone remember that? But it was discovered that the image was actually uploaded to the Field and Stream Facebook page in 2010, a well-known hunting and fishing page. So whoever this was, they were donning their clown outfit and heading out to the forest long before that magical clown-crazed summer of 2016 that we all miss. Some say he was just joking around. Godswallop, in my opinion. Nope, I reckon he's still out there, clowning around and carrying on. But one thing's absolutely certain. Something about this image stumped the internet. That's why it's famous. That's why nobody knows his name. He's the clown who hid. Number 3, we have the werewolf. In May of 2022, at the Amarillo Zoo in Texas, one of the cameras picked up this creature at around 1:30 in the morning. Now, whatever this thing is, it was walking around outside of the zoo, so it wasn't likely to be one of their animals unless something escaped. And if it is an escaped animal, well, what exactly is it? Like a lemur wearing a lion mask? It seems to be walking on its hind legs, so unless the camera just happened to snap a four-legged creature while it stood upright for a brief moment, it's hard to imagine this being a wolf or a dog. Speaking of wolves though, a lot of folks have been comparing this to maybe a werewolf, and I can definitely see that. It looks to be pointy ears, it's got a mane of fur on its back. I also think it looks maybe a bit alien, but again, let us know what you think down below. I think if we all put our heads together, we can crack this case. Coming in at second place, we have another ghost. This image was captured in Whiteman Hill in Wayland, New York, and was shared by Kelly Morgan, who found the image on her brother's trail cam. It depicts some sort of ghostly figure roaming around in front of the camera. There's some sort of beauty in this image a little bit. The figure looks like it's glowing a little bit. Morgan made a statement saying that her grandmother told her a story about 3 men who took the life of a 17-year-old on her wedding day in 1882. Apparently the girl was buried in a cemetery nearby. So could this image be the tortured soul of that bride wandering through the woods in the dead of night, or is it just a hoax? And finally, we have the rake. In this clip shared by TikTok user Cryptalker, we see a strange, lanky creature crawling through someone's backyard on all fours. It seems to resemble the famous rake internet phenomenon where the most famous creepy trail camera picture comes from. This one here, yeah, we've all seen that image, right? A gaunt, pale, spindly looking creature staring into the camera in the dead of the night. Well, this thing looks kinda like that. I'd say it could be someone just walking around on all fours, but whatever this thing is, it's incredibly thin, way too small to be human. All I know is I don't like this thing. It looks like an even longer, lankier, creepier version of Gollum. How many fantasy movie references did I make in that list? I think like 4. I don't know how Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings got in there, but is what it is. And we're gonna kick off this list with what I'm just gonna call the zombie. Reddit user Love is a Love an Axe uploaded this image a couple years back, and it's pretty haunting. They wrote, "My uncle has a trail cam at my old grandparents' house, which are both dead, and the house is abandoned. The camera takes 3 pics every time a motion is detected. This thing only appears in 1 out of 3 of the photos." They also elaborated in a comment down below saying, "For more info for anyone wondering, my uncle was up there and left. The trail cam caught him leaving in his car completely. The trail cam takes pictures so fast it looks like stop motion if looked through quickly. And this thing walks up 6 minutes after he left. It's only in a few pics, and the time says the thing was only on screen for 1 second. In the next picture, it's just gone. Never walked out of frame, just went away." And you know what, if all that's true, then this is pretty freaky. Whatever this figure is does not appear to be normal. Its limbs seem all messed up, its clothes look all ragged. It looks like an undead corpse roaming around in the middle of the night. Number 9, the large creature. This next image was posted to Reddit by user Adjacent Gunman and shows something. It's hard to make out what's going on here, but the user said it was taken on a trail cam on his property and looks to be a very tall creature of some sort holding a coyote by the throat. This second image is a bit more brightened and you can definitely see the thing's eyes pop out a bit more, but it still blends in with the darkness. You don't get a sense of what its body looks like at all. So if it is a Sasquatch, Sasquatch of some kind. It has some pretty dark fur. Some commenters said it could be a hunter on his property, but the uploader said it's not possible, or at least highly unlikely, as the placement of the eyes beside his cabin would make whatever this thing is about 8 feet tall. Now, looking at the coyote's limbs, they look very angular, almost photoshopped perhaps, or maybe whatever the creature holding it is, like it's maybe blocking part of its body. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Let us know in the comments what you think. This footage was uploaded to the YouTube channel Jimmy B Trail Cams and shows what looks to be a large, hairy creature walking across the screen through the trees. Jimmy B uploads all kinds of trail cam videos in Birch Bay, Washington. There are videos of foxes, wolves, hawks, owls, and this. And that's kind of what sells it for me. Like, this isn't someone who just seems to be a Bigfoot enthusiast. He just seems to have a passion for wildlife of all kinds. Probably wasn't even trying to capture something mysterious like this, but just happened to. And the footage is not super clear, but for a Bigfoot video, you do see quite a bit. The bar is not very high for Bigfoot videos. You see that the creature moves with this classic Bigfoot gait. Its arms hang by its sides. It seems to have like a pretty long strides. He posted an update after uploading this footage saying 4 of his 8 trail cameras were missing the day after this footage was taken, so that's mysterious. Number 7, the skunk ape. Just recently, this image captured on a Florida game cam was shared online. The image was taken in Ocala National Park in a hunter's food plot and shows some kind of ape-like creature. Definitely ain't a deer. And I gotta say, if someone is just in a costume here, good job. It looks pretty convincing. I don't look at this image and go, oh, that's a gorilla costume. The fur just looks too, for lack of a better word, real. And the face looks like an actual animal. The dude who shared the image said, looks almost like it's holding a baby with its fingers on the mother's nose. I can kind of see that, but what do you all think? Let us know in the comments once again. At our number 6 spot, we have what I like to call too many deer. Now, this image certainly isn't as ominous as some of the others on this list, and I am quite fond of deer. They're majestic, they're beautiful and elegant animals, but there's something a little unsettling about this image. Like, there's just too many goddamn deer in this forest. It looks like a deer army. It's reminding me of Saruman's Uruk-hai, like swarming the forest to capture Frodo here. Right? Isn't everyone else thinking that? Looking at this picture? Everywhere you look, there's another deer. They just go on for miles, it looks like. I guess too much of anything, though, is kinda icky, right? Like, take cats, for example. Adorable on their own, but like only to a point. Too many, and things get a little uncomfortable. The stereotypical crazy cat lady, it's a thing for a reason. I also think the fact that every single one of them is staring directly into the camera makes it kind of off-putting. This was obviously taken with the flash on, so it's a deer in headlights kind of situation, but looking at this picture, I still have a bit of like a, oh god, like, what do you want from me kind of feeling. This video was uploaded to YouTube by Paranormal Planet, who'd been exploring an ice cave in Hallstatt, Austria. Most of the video is just pretty standard touristy type footage of the cave until we get to the end and see whatever this is. That is a pretty freaky looking creature. Now, my first thought was like, I don't know, maybe it's a frog or something, but according to the uploader, this thing was the size of a large man, and they were also standing far enough away that they wouldn't have picked it up in this kind of detail if it was something as small as a frog. So if that's to be believed, then this is a pretty strange piece of footage. And honestly, the more I do look at it, the less frog-like this thing really looks. I mean, frogs don't really articulate like this, and they don't usually chill in ice caves either. And the way it bends its limbs almost looks like how a human would climb, except it's way too long and spindly to be a person. So I don't know what this is. Let me know your thoughts down below. This next video was posted to Facebook by a man named Clay Shiner. He was filming the woods one evening because he spotted something moving just behind the tree line. Turns out it was not a bear. The thing that really struck me about this video is how long this thing's arms are. At first it just looks like, you know, a typical formless black shape hiding in the trees like so many Sasquatch videos you see. But when it steps forward a bit and stretches its arms out to the sides, it's like, damn, those are long, very ape-like and very creepy. Reddit user Adjacent Gunman posted this image with the caption, "Over a year ago, this picture was taken by a trail cam back on my property. This version has been lightened. It's something holding a dead coyote by the throat, and it stands about 7.5 to 8 feet tall." He also posted an unedited version of the image. He said he based the thing's height off of where its eyes are compared to his cabin. Now, this thing is hard to make out, but there's definitely something there. Could it be a bear standing on its hind legs? Possibly, but the way it's holding its prey, it looks almost humanoid. But I don't know, maybe that's just my wishful thinking. I wholeheartedly want Bigfoot to be real. Uploaded to the YouTube channel Hola Bible in 2011, this video really creeped a lot of people out. The uploader said he'd been hearing some strange sounds coming from the forest behind his home in Oregon. Keep in mind, he lived 6 miles from the nearest city. He went out to investigate with a night vision camera. Well, he didn't get very far before he came across the source of these strange noises. Crouching in some brush was some sort of odd-looking, hairless creature. He zooms into the thing a bit, trying to make out what the hell it is, and then this happens. So it looks like Gollum was lurking around this guy's woods, or an alien, or a rake. It looks like a lot of things, all of them creepy, none of which you'd want skulking around in your backyard. I just hope this dude moved. And finally, I have another piece of Bigfoot footage for you. This video comes out of Russia, and in it, we see some folks filming some woods near their property. They'd spotted something sprinting through the trees, and what they see is pretty shocking. What's really cool about this video is how the thing moves. How many supposed Bigfoot videos do you see where it's just this figure like lumbering through the trees, like a dude in a costume, unsure of their footing? You kind of see them trying to keep their balance. Well, that is not the case here. This thing is sprinting at high speed and leaping across the ground as if it's an animal that is very familiar with its environment. That's why this has become such a well-known clip in the Sasquatch community, which no, I'm not a part of, but my interest is still very much there. What you're looking at here may not look like much at first glance. It's a snake. I mean, big deal, right? Well, the thing is, this is an aerial photograph taken way up in a helicopter. That snake is said to have been 50 feet long. Back in 1959, Colonel Remy van Leerde, an experienced Belgian World War II fighter pilot, was flying a helicopter over the Congo. As he's flying over the jungle in the Katanga region, he spots something moving down below. He claimed it was a massive snake, and it would have had to be for it to catch his eye way up in a chopper.
Then I was already flying for 25 years, so I have a very good experience of measuring things. And I would say the snake I saw there was close to 50 foot.
The snake had green and brown scales and a head that was apparently 3 feet long and 2 feet wide. You could fit a grown man in its mouth. And as he flew in closer, the snake rose up off the ground about 10 feet into the air like it was trying to strike at the chopper. Van Leerde circled around a few times so someone else on board could snap a photo of it. Of course, skeptics have their doubts, but he stuck to his story up until his death in 1990. But what do you think he saw out there in the jungle? A new species, a leftover from the dinosaur age, or was the whole story a hoax? Let me know what you think in the comments. This next story takes us deep into the heart of Texas, a little rural spot called Dabina out in Fayette County. Michael Demmel captured something really strange on a hunting camera on his property. He has a bunch of these cameras set up, using them to track wildlife like coyotes, bobcats, and raccoons. These motion sensor cameras take about 100 pictures a day, and Michael goes through them every single day. He's been doing this for 10 years, so when he says something looks off, that's really saying something. Well, one night he captured whatever this thing was. He said he thought it was a monkey at first, and to be fair, in the blurry photo it kinda does look like one. Of course, that would still be very, very strange. There are no monkeys just running around in Texas unless one escaped from a zoo, and no, there were no monkey jailbreaks reported. So he shows the image to some friends, tries to get some answers, and the photo eventually hits the local news. Some say the thing looks a lot like a chupacabra, the legendary cryptid that's been blamed for livestock deaths for decades. Others think it has a bit of an alien or skinwalker kind of vibe. Now, the creature's about as big as a medium-sized dog, but the body shape, the face, totally off. Michael said, "In the 10 years I've been reviewing my cameras, I have never encountered anything like it." Even the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department got involved. They looked at the photo but ruled out any normal animal, saying it didn't look like a baby deer or anything they could easily identify. I always liked to imagine Spider-Man was real when I was a kid. Kinda always hoped I'd see him swinging around up there one day. Well, I would have been thrilled to see this next video. This footage was captured at the pedestrian bridge in Kiev, not where you'd be expecting to spot the web slinger, but superheroes do get around. Now clearly this is a person crawling under the bridge, but even so, why? I mean, this is pretty dangerous. That water down below does not look very deep. Unless this person has actual web slinging abilities, if they fall, they're getting hurt or worse. So who is this person? Is it just a thrill seeker? Are they out of their mind? Or is there a chance that this isn't even a person at all and that the camera person caught something otherworldly crawling under that bridge? This piece of footage was uploaded to Reddit by user KeyProposal8529. Some sort of strange creature was peering out at them from the woods. They wrote, "Hello all, I live near the Trail of Tears in Missouri. As I got home one night I saw this thing in the woods by my house. From where it was standing, it has to be tall because there's a ditch right below where it stands. Any ideas? I'm terrified. Yes, I stayed in my car until I got the balls to run inside my house." Now, I have no idea what this thing could be. It's hard to make out, but if the Redditor is telling the truth here, then this is a pretty creepy piece of footage, because they pass by this area constantly. I mean, it's right outside their home. They know when something is out of place. A Reddit user out in the Midwest has been spotting a strange creature in their neighborhood. First, they posted these images along with a caption reading, "These are photos taken in the Midwest from an iPhone at night. The cryptid in question randomly appears in the same spot. Once a person begins to approach, it will vanish. It was seen again a few weeks ago and moved at an incredible speed across a few backyards. A local dog will bark at the spot that it appears in, even when it's not there. Trail cams will be set up soon. Please give me some ideas as to what it could be." The Redditor also posted an update with a video attached. This time, we can supposedly hear whatever this strange creature is. They wrote in the description, "We've got a video of the cryptid making what sounds like a scream. My friend was trying to find where it was standing but couldn't see it. Once the video ended, it appeared again in his yard but vanished as he went to get his phone again."
In our number 5 spot today, we have the fallen angel. This video follows 2 men entering some kind of a forest when they start to come across these really large feathers. They continue on their journey into the woods and follow wherever the feathers are leading them. Eventually, they come across some sort of creature that looks like a man with a wound in his back, but it is definitely pretty difficult to see. Now comes the most cursed part. This man creature thing then turns his head and his eyes are illuminated by the light from the camera. This creature is meant to be a fallen angel. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, this video isn't actually real footage and was made by some Spanish horror film fans, but it is still very cursed and very creepy. If I didn't know that this video was fake, I honestly maybe would have believed it, okay? In our number 4 spot today, we have Bigfoot. No trail cam video is complete without an alleged Bigfoot sighting. This video comes from a hunter and it has a super creepy backstory, not your typical Bigfoot kind of video. The hunter explained that he had found human remains in this makeshift kind of shelter out in the woods, and because of this extremely creepy encounter, he decided to set up a secret trail camera that points at this creepy shelter to see what he would be able to find out. Around sunset the next day, the trail camera captures this. You can see a strange figure come out from the woods and rustle around near this makeshift shelter. The creature is covered in thick fur, and this, coupled with its slightly human-like behavior, has made many speculate that this is indeed a sighting of the legendary Bigfoot. After the creature stands around for a bit, it soon heads back into the forest, but not before picking up a giant log and throwing it at the camera, knocking it over. Perhaps the trail camera wasn't quite as inconspicuous as the hunter might have thought. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Brontosaurus. Dinosaurs are extinct, right? Well, this trail camera video was posted to TikTok, and honestly it left me a little speechless. The date and timestamp on this video show that it was taken around 1:56 a.m. on March 15th of this year. It starts off with just the typical trail cam setup, but you can hear something as it walks into frame. Suddenly, we see a creature with a long neck begin to enter. Its lumbering steps can be heard as it continues on, and once it's fully in frame, it is clear as day that this is a dinosaur, likely some kind of brontosaur. Nothing super scary happens as this dino walks through the frame, but it is so surreal to see a prehistoric creature mixed in with our more modern times. I know that this video is likely just some good CGI, but what if it wasn't? In our number 2 spot today, we have the levitation. This video starts off with a man and his dog walking through some kind of forest in the snow. They're playing fetch, and the man throws the ball, and the dog chases after it, but when the owner calls the dog back, the dog has clearly seen something else, and he begins running off. This is all fine and well, nothing wrong with a little fetch, but when the man follows the dog to see where he's going, they come across something super strange. It is literally a girl levitating in the air. She's with another person, and it's kind of unclear if he is the one who is levitating her or if she's doing it herself, but either way, when they realize that someone is watching them, she quickly returns to the ground and they both run off, extremely guilty. I know the clip is really grainy and hard to see, but there is definitely something super weird going on here. Witchcraft, aliens, I don't know. And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have the creature. This trail camera caught some sort of humanoid creature as it walks across the trail. This animal or creature or whatever it is definitely appears slightly human, but it doesn't walk like a human, or really like an animal either for that matter. This thing slowly moves on all fours as it lumbers through this forest kind of area. It's got long, awkward limbs, and it doesn't really appear like anything that is known to science, which is why people speculate that this thing is either a demon or some currently undiscovered cryptid. Whatever it is, it's safe to say that I don't want to encounter it. Thank you. Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have the Idaho footage. This creepy video was posted to Reddit by the user No Recognition 1998, where they wrote that it comes from a trail cam in Idaho that was 20 miles out into the woods. Where the video was taken, they said, is literally in the middle of nowhere, and there would be no reason for someone to be this far out into the isolated woods, especially at this time of night. So that leads me to what the video catches. At 4:37 a.m., what is this that appears on the trail cam? Someone or some kind of creature is caught walking past this trail cam. It definitely appears to be human-like, but there is also something extremely off-putting about whatever this thing is, aside from the other bizarre details surrounding this encounter. What do you think this trail cam caught? In our number 9 spot today, we have the Mothman. This next creepy video was posted to TikTok, and it shows a possible encounter with the famous cryptid, the Mothman. If you're a fan of this channel, I'm sure you're familiar with the legend of the Mothman, but if not, it started all back on a dark November night in 1966. 2 couples claimed that they saw a huge bird-like monster that had red, glowing eyes. They claimed they saw it while they were cruising down a back road near Point Pleasant, which sits in rural West Virginia. They explained that whatever this creature was, it rose into the air, unfolded these huge bat-like wings, and chased them as they sped away as fast as they could, completely frightened by what they had just seen. From here, stories of the Mothman continued to spread, with more sightings coming in the following weeks, and since then, the Mothman has been an enduring mystery, with some swearing that he exists, and still, to this day, there are reported sightings. Now back to the video. The video shows people recording as they are on a dark trail when they stumble upon a weird scene. It appears as though there is some kind of a creature maybe eating a human? They begin to get closer to whatever is going on, and you can hear the disbelief in their voice over what they are seeing. Suddenly, it appears as though the creature knows it's being watched, and it starts kind of moving closer to the people recording, and at the end of the day, it doesn't appear as though this Mothman is too fazed by the onlookers, and it just continues to do whatever it was doing with the man in the road. In our number 8 spot today, we have the weird creature. Do you believe in aliens? Or things we can't necessarily prove are real? This next video might just make you a believer. This video was taken in the Acadian woods here in Canada, and it captures a creature that honestly defies explanation. The creature appears to be sitting on some kind of stone structure as those who found it begin recording it. The creature doesn't appear frightened or threatening, but it is totally unlike anything I've ever seen before. It definitely gives off a strange alien feeling, especially with its elongated head seen in the video, but the creature also has a sort of bug-like appearance as well, like it's some kind of grasshopper or something similar. The creature seems to be pretty calm, but it does start to make some inhuman noises. At the end of the day, it is still totally unknown what this creature is, or could be, so if you have an idea, let us know. In our number 7 spot today, we have the abandoned house. This video starts off with people looking through an abandoned house, but they get quite a surprise. The 2-minute long video is mostly just the people walking through the house, searching around for whatever they can find. I mean, the vibes are very creepy. It's an abandoned house and it's dark outside. Around the 50-second mark, however, they find what looks like a newspaper and they begin talking to each other. I have no idea what they are saying because it's not in English, but I'm going to assume they are talking about the paper because they zoom in on it. They begin to continue through the house when the person holding the camera finally sees it. Over in the corner is a little girl. Whether this is a real little girl or some kind of ghost or demon is tough to say, but to be honest, none of these are really great options. The clip shows his initial reaction, but it's kind of tough to see the little girl, so the video then slows it down and brightens it up a bit so we can get a good look at what the video captured. In our number 6 spot today, we have the mermaid. Could mermaids really be real and maybe just not the beautiful sirens we tend to think of them as? Well, this guy may have just found some proof. This video comes from a man who is walking along the beach when he finds something unusual. When he posted it to TikTok, he claimed that he believes he found the remains of a mermaid, and honestly, once I watched the video, I could definitely understand why he would say this. At first, when he goes to pick this item up, it appears like maybe it's just some branches tangled together, but soon we see that there is so much more going on here. The object he is holding resembles the skeleton of a small mermaid-like creature, complete with the infamous tail. You can see a rib cage, skinny little arms, a head. I don't know, this thing is weird and honestly, it's really unsettling. Possibly the most unsettling part of this video, however, is when the man just drops the skeleton back into the water like it wasn't the possible remains of a once living creature. Just no respect for the mermaids, I guess.
This photo was taken in Whiteman Hill by a deer camera owned by a woman named Kelly Morgan's brother, and at first glance it looks like a pale, human-shaped figure standing in front of the camera, glowing against the darker background. Certainly is not an animal. It's upright with what could be the outline of a dress, which is why Morgan believes it might be a ghost. She said the figure stood out immediately when they reviewed the footage, because nothing else in the area had ever triggered the camera like that before. Plus, there's a legend in the area she heard growing up. The story goes that a teenage girl was killed in the area in the late 1800s, possibly around 1882. The details are, of course, fuzzy, mostly passed down by word of mouth, but supposedly she was a young bride who never made it to her wedding day. On top of that, there's a cemetery nearby. So the first thing you notice in this image is, of course, the deer in the foreground. But once your eyes drift past the deer, they lock onto this eerie skeletal thing in the background. It's this odd pale shape, hard to tell where it even starts and ends. The upper part looks more defined, almost like a torso and a head, while the lower half just sort of melts away like fog. The face, if that's what we're looking at, is the worst part. You can make out what looks like a heavy brow, a wide open mouth, and a hollow, gaunt face. And its head is tilted back like it's screaming into the air. Actually kind of looks like it's mimicking the buck. Maybe it's something mundane, like a reflection in the water or an animal caught at a strange angle, but I don't know. I'm not really seeing a regular animal here. What do you all think, though? These trail cam photos have been drifting around the internet since at least 2010, maybe even earlier. No one knows exactly when they were taken, and we don't know for sure where they were taken. That alone already puts them in a sketchy territory. And yeah, there's a real chance this could be a hoax, but if it isn't, then someone's trail camera randomly caught a man dressed as a clown wandering through the woods. The image really blew up years later when it got reused in news stories during the clown sighting craze of summer 2016. A lot of people assumed it came from that time. Turns out it didn't. The photo was actually uploaded way back in 2010 to the Field and Stream Facebook page, which is a hunting and fishing group. So whoever this clown was, he was out there long before the whole 2016 clown thing. And to this day, we still have no idea who this person was. Any superstitious folks in the audience? I'm gonna guess so on a channel like this. You're probably shuddering looking at this image. Crows have had a bad reputation for a long time, and it mostly comes down to how and where people used to see them. Back in the day, crows were common around battlefields, gallows, and graveyards. They'd show up after people died, picking at whatever was left behind. So when someone saw a group of crows circling overhead, it often meant something bad had already happened, and the superstition became that if something bad hadn't already happened, well, something was about to. Crows became a warning sign, an omen of death. And they can be creepy birds anyway. They're totally jet black, they're loud, they're quite intelligent, they don't panic easily, they stare, and they remember faces. In parts of Europe and North America, people believe the number of crows you saw could predict the future. 1 meant bad news, 2 meant joy, a whole group could mean death was nearby. And look at all these crows, plus the date on this trail camera, October 31st. Reddit user West Coast Trawler shared trail camera footage showing a person walking across their property at 1:47 in the morning. It was around 31 degrees outside. The person wasn't using a flashlight, and the area is known for bears and mountain lions. And a few days later, West Coast Trawler added an update. Not long before the footage was captured, a car had been reported stolen and later found abandoned about 1 to 2 miles from Trawler's property. Someone had photographed a woman leaving the vehicle, posted the image online, and reported it to police. After that, West Coast Trawler spotted the same woman on another trail camera, this time with a man. From what the footage showed, it appeared the woman was hiding out in the area while the man went back and forth, maybe bringing her supplies during the night. About an hour after posting that update, West Coast Trawler said the sheriff had located and arrested the woman. There was no confirmation on whether the man had been caught. This series of trail camera pictures was posted to Reddit by Rosetti. He'd been seeing some weird tracks in his area in southern Kentucky. He also noticed some odd structures had been built out of sticks in the middle of the woods, and a stack of rocks with a bone on top, and he attached a game camera up about 7 feet on a tree, which ended up getting torn down. And that brings us back to these images, which he posted with the heading, "Here are some photos from the trail cam that was ripped down in reference to my last post for all you cryptozoologists to debunk." So I leave it to all of you. Do you think it's a hoax? Is it a black bear? Or did this camera actually happen to capture a genuine Sasquatch? This image is pretty ominous as is, a nude-looking man lurking around someone's rural property in the middle of the night. But it gets worse. This person broke into that home. The image was posted to Reddit by user GhostEVP with the heading, "This person crawled through my grandma's window last weekend." They provided some more info in the comments, saying that the house had fortunately been empty at the time. But the next day, a friend stopped by and realized something was wrong. The place had been completely torn apart, with rooms clearly searched through and items thrown around. When they checked the game camera footage, it only captured this single image of the person. As for how the intruder got in, they'd removed the air conditioner from the window, climbed through the opening. After ransacking the house, they disappeared. Reddit user native_Maraki posted this strange image saying it was captured by her trail camera and that the previous owner's ashes had been spread on the property. She also said they live at the top of a steep hill in the woods and that she didn't recognize the figure as one of her neighbors and doesn't think it's just a strange woman walking around in the middle of the night, although that would be creepy too. In her words though, "I believe it's the ghost of the woman who lived here before." Back in 2023, this trail camera photo out of Florida started making the rounds online. It was taken in Ocala National Forest, right in a hunter's food plot, and whatever showed up in front of that camera is very clearly not a deer. Whatever this thing is, it's bulky and definitely ape-like. Now, yeah, you always jump to it being someone in a suit of some kind, either a hunter in a ghillie suit or someone intentionally pulling off a hoax and dressing up as a Sasquatch. If the latter is true though, this is a pretty convincing costume. It it looks like a living animal to me. When you zoom in it, it at least doesn't immediately scream costume. The fur looks dense and natural, and the face, if that even is the face we're looking at, it doesn't have that stiff mask look either. The guy who originally posted it also pointed something out. He thought it looked like the creature might be holding a baby, with its fingers pressed up near what would be the mother's nose or face. Once you notice it, it's hard to unsee, apparently, but I don't really see it myself. Can any of you make that out? Drop your thoughts down in the comments.
Number 5, the last hike. Dalen Kaloa went missing during a hike on the infamous Haiku Stairs, also known as the Stairway to Heaven. Ironically enough, on the morning of February 27th, 2015, Dalen told his family that he planned to hike this dangerous, illegal trail. Now, throughout the hike, he sent several photos to his family, but in one image, they noticed something quite strange in the background. They noticed an unidentified man just standing there, almost lurking, watching his every moves. Dalen never returned, and despite extensive searches, he was never found. So now, of course, his family is seeking the public's help to identify this man in the background of the photo, believing, of course, that he might hold vital information that could lead to Dalen's whereabouts. This haunting mystery remains unsolved, leaving many to wonder, could this unidentified man provide the key to uncovering what happened that day? Or even worse, was this man responsible? Number 4, Battleground Ghost. In 1862, 3 major battles were fought in what now is the Maryland section of the Appalachian Trail. Now, the sheer number of casualties in these battles, of course, create an eerie atmosphere, with many soldiers losing their lives on that land. Today, hikers report seeing ghostly soldiers, strange campfires, and even hearing cannon blasts echoing in the distance, almost as if the spirits of the fallen soldiers are still present. Now, one haunting site is near the farm of Daniel Wise. Visitors to the area have claimed to see ghostly figures wandering the land, adding to the chilling history of this part of the trail. This photo here was taken in May 2015 in that exact same spot. Do you believe this is a ghost from a civil battle? Comment down below. What do you think this is? Number 3, Halloween Ghost. Captured, of course, on Halloween Day 2023, this eerie image shows what appears to be a ghostly figure, a ghostly white figure clinging onto an old tree. Now, the form is faint, almost human, not quite, but almost there, and it's blurred, and the low quality makes it seem like it's drifting between this world and another. It raises the question, could it be a simple trick of light with the sun casting strange shadows through the branches? Perfectly explainable? Or is this someone or something who has quietly been watching from the shadows all along, only now revealing itself to those who look closely? This looks a lot like something I saw when I was younger. I always wondered if I saw a ghost or if I was just seeing things. Now I'm starting to think it's the former. Number 2, Headless Deer. Like something straight out of a dark fairy tale, this image captures a deer that, well, seems to be missing its head, doesn't it? Wandering the forest with an eerie sense of purpose. Perhaps, where's my head? Maybe that's a good purpose, trying to find that. Its disembodied form stirs an unsettling feeling, as if it's lost, aimlessly drifting through the woods, haunting anyone who crosses its path. Now, I know this is most likely an illusion, but the way the deer is angled, I'll be honest, I really can't see how its head can be positioned in order for this to happen. Imagine seeing this on your trail cam one morning. Ugh, I would be sick. And finally, number 1, Mount St. Helens. On May 18th, 1980, David A. Johnston, a dedicated volcanologist, stood over Mount St. Helens, aware of the growing signs of unrest. Now, given the date of this photo, you can probably guess what happens next. This was 13 hours before the devastating eruption, and he made his last transmission over the radio. He said, "Vancouver, Vancouver, this is it." And he was not wrong. Those haunting words echoed into silence as the volcano did erupt, sending ash and destruction all across the landscape. Now, despite extensive search efforts, David's remains were never found, except for this photo, which of course leaves behind a chilling reminder of nature's unpredictable power and the sacrifices made, all in the name of science. Number 10, alien caught on camera. In September 2024, this mysterious figure was caught on camera. Its movement activated the trail cam, and it appears to have a glowing body and an orb-shaped head. This is one of those eerie sightings that sends shivers right down your spine, especially with all the drone stuff happening. Is this an alien? The soft, otherworldly glow that it gives off only adds to its unsettling, odd appearance, making it seem as if it's straight out of a sci-fi nightmare. Its form seems definitely unnatural. That's not an animal for sure. Now, some say it is an optical illusion, possibly lens flare or strange reflection off the lens, making it appear far larger than it actually is. Yet the the way the light plays around its figure leaves many wondering, could it be something we can't explain? Or is it just another trick of the eye? Either way, the mysterious nature of this alien image still holds a creepy allure, leaving you to wonder if there's something more out there. Number 9, Ghost Woman. This photo comes to us from Brandon Cottrell. They say, quote, "When I was setting up the trail cameras that day, it felt like I wasn't alone outside." The eerie part is that a young woman went missing in this very area back in the late 80s, and despite years of searching, they've never found any remains. That history combined with this photo, remind me to never go in the woods again. I'm just gonna stay inside forever. We're good. It's hard not to imagine that whatever was out there that day could have been linked to the disappearance, as if something or someone has been watching the area for all of these years, just waiting for the right time to reveal itself. That was spooky. Sent shivers down my back reading that one. Whenever I do this with my hands, how you know it's real. Number 8, Ghost Snake. What in the world is this? This strange figure zipped past the camera not once, but twice, leaving us all scratching our heads. It's completely unexplainable, especially considering it was caught in the middle of nowhere, deep in the upper Midwest. No one can figure out what it is or where it came from. The way it moved so quickly, so purposefully, has us questioning everything. Could it be something we've never seen before up until now? Or is there another explanation that we're missing? I can't figure it out. I can't even think about what animal this could be. Last I checked, electric eels don't fly, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. I have a coffee bean or something stuck in my... something in there. It's right there. I feel it. Number 7, Montana Grim Reaper. This one comes from a user and they say my grandpa lives in rural Montana, and one day one of his friends from town came into the local bar looking completely shaken. So my grandpa then said that he was in a state of shock almost. His face was as pale as a ghost. He was reluctant to show the photos at first, worried that people might think that he was losing his mind. More than fair. He owns a big piece of land and has trail cameras set up to track wildlife. That part's not weird. But when he went through the footage, that's when he found something quite odd. My grandpa's wife sent the photos to a nearby university for analysis, and to their surprise, the professor couldn't explain what they were looking at. So what do you think this is? Or who? Any ideas on what could be lurking? What are your best theories? Comment down below. Number 6, Chain Man. This user anonymously posted this photo online with an eerie backstory. They say, my uncle set up a trail cam at my old grandparents' house, which is now abandoned. Abandoned, that's the key word here. The camera takes 3 photos every time it detects motion, but this strange figure only shows up in 1 of the 3 shots. They have no idea what it was. They say, I'm not saying it's a ghost, though I don't really believe in that stuff. Hey, I don't know how to tell you this, but that's for sure a ghost. Either there's a man living there or there's a ghost living there. One of the two. Good game. Thanks for sharing.
So this image was posted to Reddit by user PHFM 4 months ago, with the caption reading, "Friend's trail cam in North Carolina." Now, I would be pretty alarmed knowing this thing was lurking around in the dark anywhere near me. The immediate thought is, well, that doesn't look right. This is a hairy creature standing on 2 legs. Must be Bigfoot. Well, probably not. This could easily be a black bear. Bears do stand on their hind legs, and it could be hunching over, which is why you can't see its head. But even still, there's just something creepy about this image. It just looks oddly human to me. It's the best way I can describe it. What do you think, though? Bear, Bigfoot, werewolf, skinwalker, and mid-transformation? Let us know in the comments. Back in July of this year, the Instagram account Lower Florida Bucks posted this series of images here with the description reading, "I've had some strange trail cam pics sent in through the years, but these from Roberts Lowell might just take the cake." He got pics of this person/creature on 2 separate cameras and swears they're legit. He also said these were taken on a property 12 miles from the nearest town. What do y'all make of it? And that's a very good question. What do you make of whatever this is? It's hard to make anything out because of how blurry the figure is. Clearly it was darting around at a good speed. I can say this though, it doesn't look human, at least not exactly. This next Reddit post is from 2 months back. JT245 writes, "Hello. After looking at some old photos from a trail camera, I noticed a silhouette in the background and a white spot on the second photo. My brother was alone and has no explanation. What are your theories?" Now, take a real close look at these images and see if you can spot anything. It's hard to notice at first, but look at the middle right-hand side of the first image. We'll zoom in and circle it for you. Okay, so it's a shape that sort of has a form. You might be able to recognize as a person, maybe. This wouldn't be all that strange on its own, but now take another look at the second picture. Whatever that shape is, it isn't there anymore. Now, I couldn't spot the white spot the uploader described in the second picture, but if you can find it, let us know down in the comments. But that figure is kind of strange. It's pretty small. Some people have said it looks like almost maybe it could be a fae. I don't know. So this next story may be not a creature captured on trail cam, but it's equally, if not more disturbing. This woman here was captured on a deer cam in the woods, going back and forth in the dark for hours, barefoot. The owner of the property was pretty alarmed when he saw the images, making a post online about it, reading, "Does anyone recognize this girl/woman? She appeared on my trail camera in July of this year at 5 a.m. She was barefoot and appears to be running. She isn't in any trouble with me, just curious who she is, what she was doing, and if she's okay. If you recognize her, please message me. I've been baffled by this for a month, mainly because the woods can be tough walking with boots. I contacted police as soon as I discovered the photos. They were baffled as well." Now, some commenters say she may just have been on a run, but apparently there are no trails nearby, and the area she was running in has a thicket that the property owner's dog won't even go through. It's just thick vegetation. No one would be wandering through there, especially at night barefoot. So it's just all very strange and kind of concerning. At the time of this recording, Redditor Apart Operation 329 just made this post a little over a week ago with the caption, "Humanoid found on trail cam." They went on to write, "My friend sent this to our group chat a while back. I don't know why I just now bothered to post it, but I wanted to know if anyone here could identify this thing. We can't tell if it's a person or not. Not sure if this is the right sub to put this in, but any help is appreciated." Now, what we see here is immediately off-putting. To me, this thing looks way too strange and thin to be human, but a lot of commenters mention that the figure does look like a human woman, just a really thin woman who probably isn't okay. It looks like she may have wounds on parts of her body, and she's clearly emaciated. Some think this person may have needed help and that the uploader should contact the police, but I don't know what good that will really do. Personally, it's hard to make anything out from this image, and it's from 2022. So this was someone in distress. I just hope they made it home okay. So just what in the hell are we looking at here? I don't know, but I can say for sure that I don't like it. They look like the ghost girl from Ringu poking her head out of the water. They're pale with long black hair covering most of their faces, if these even are faces we're looking at here. It's hard to tell. You'll also notice they seem to have glowing, reflective eyes. So the story behind this clip is that back in April of this year, a trail cam was set up right at the edge of a river where locals had been experiencing strange things, telling stories of dark spirits lurking in the water. Now, as for where the footage comes from, I've seen comments saying it's a river called Namor Ong. I tried to look up Namor Ong and I can't find any info on that place, so please let me know in the comments if you know anything about that or if Namor Ong even exists at all. Anyway, a pretty spooky clip. This next piece of trail cam footage comes from a TikToker named The Most Mandy, who posted this eerie footage captured by the security camera outside her home in the Appalachian Mountains. So we see a figure in a long white robe moving across her property, at one point saying, "Let me in this very craggly, almost witch-like voice. She gets closer and closer to the house until the motion sensors go off and she retreats back into the shadows. Here's another clip taken by a camera at another part of the house. We can hear the woman better in this clip, not that we really want to. Well, you know what? She sold me. I'd have let her in. I mean, how could anyone turn down such a soothing, friendly voice like that? Back in June, a hunter placed a trail camera in the woods expecting to pick up animals. Instead, he captured this odd scene. At about 2 a.m., a figure wearing what looks like a long dress steps out from the shadows and passes the camera. Who was this person and what were they doing in the middle of the woods at 2 in the morning? Well, they were running from someone or something. As the video continues, we see a dark mass crawl out of the depths of the thicket. As the thing gets closer, we notice it's crawling. It looks like it has long dark hair and reflective eyes. The rest of its face is hard to make out, but there's something not quite right about whatever this thing is. This next video is also captured by a trail cam in the Appalachian Mountains. It was posted by Elizabeth Maynard, 98, who captured something incredibly unsettling moving across her property, and there were a pair of them. When they first pass by, it's hard to make out what these things are, but they're clearly walking on all fours. They move off camera before turning around and passing the camera again, this time walking on their hind legs, looking much more humanoid, but no less disturbing. They're incredibly thin, with glowing eyes, and look to be hairless, almost like your classic stereotypical alien. They also walk with this very unnatural gait, taking these itty-bitty little steps, almost like they're not used to walking upright. Some commenters also think these creatures look like rakes, skinwalkers, or possible wendigos, but what do you all think? This is a very strange post from about 9 months back by Reddit user What Did You Do, Ray?, who was seeking out help about the odd behavior he was experiencing with his trail camera, writing, "This trail cam is at a Christmas tree farm in Bedford, Pennsylvania. There are no buildings, lights, or structures in the area at all where this cam is. Every night for the past 2 months, my cam takes a picture at exactly 12:05 and 1 second in the AM. There is never anything in the pics. No deer, squirrels, foxes, etc. Recently, the pictures have shown a red light being cast across the top of the trees. One pic shows the red light to be extremely bright and def in a circle around the trees. And then there is the picture from March 5th of 2024 that shows two blurs, one directly above one of the trees and a very similar blur to the right on the ground just off the road. The odder thing is that this picture's timestamp is at 12:05 and 2 seconds. It's the only picture in the entire series of pics from the past 2 months that was taken 1 second later. Now, he also posted in the comments later that he'd switched the camera to take video instead of pictures at one point, and that the camera would successfully take video at any other time of day except 12:05 AM, where it wouldn't take video when the sensor went off at that time, only taking a picture. Definitely strange. So the question is, what's causing this camera to go off? Well, something was hovering above the trees, casting a red light at the exact same time of night every night for 2 months.
In our number 5 spot today, we have the creepy figure. This video starts off with a group of men riding their motorcycles through the woods, which honestly already sounds challenging enough. The video seems to be progressing as one would expect until things take a turn for the worse. Quickly, the video descends into terror and madness as they realize that something or someone is chasing them. You can hear one of the men yelling and screaming for help as the other men in front of him begin to pull over and try and figure out what is happening. That would be absolutely jarring to be just on a fun day out with your friends when suddenly one of them starts screaming for help. Absolutely terrifying already, but I don't think any of the men were expecting to see what happens next. A creepy human-like creature can be seen chasing the men, and when one of them gets off the bike, it begins coming up to the bike and toward the group. The men are caught between being utterly terrified of this encounter while also trying to protect their bike from damage or being stolen. You can absolutely hear the panic in their voices as they try to figure out what exactly is going on. In our number 4 spot today, we have this weird creature. This video comes from Australia, which is of course the land of creepy creatures, and whatever is caught on this video is certainly no exception. The person who captured the video was driving through a deserted forest at night, which just already feels like you're asking for trouble. As they are driving through this creepy area and recording, something appears in front of the car. This creature, whatever it is, although it doesn't look like any animals that I know of, quickly disappears just as quickly as it did appear, moving in a strange and very fast way. Let's take another look at this thing, but slow down a bit. Honestly, I have no explanation for what this is or what it could be. Some believe it's a skinwalker, others believe it's a demon. Whatever you want to believe, let's just hope you never cross paths with it. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Appalachian Trail footage. This next creepy video comes from someone who was hiking by themselves along the Appalachian Trail. He was resting in his tent, again, all alone, when suddenly he began to hear a terrifying screeching sound. I guess when you're out in the wilderness all alone, you really have no choice but to investigate the creepy sound. Better to know where it's coming from than just wait and see and hope for the best. He gets out of his tent and begins recording the sound as he calls out for any response to to what could be making this horrifying sound. You can hear the fear in his voice as he tries to shine his light and see as far as he can in the pitch black wilderness. The noise sounds as though it's getting closer and closer, and you can faintly see shadows moving in between the trees as if something knows he is there and is coming to take a look. At one point, it even looks like you can maybe see the reflection of eyes off in the distance. It isn't quite clear exactly what he encountered that day, but whatever it is, I wouldn't want to meet it face to face. In our number 2 spot today, we have the creepy man. This video was taken in a remote area in Montana, out in what appears to be some kind of forest area. Now, a lot of the videos on today's list feature unknown creatures and creepy looking things, but this video looks like it just captures a man. The man gives off a kind of weird vibe to begin with. I mean, he's just standing alone in the woods, which is kind of weird, but the people recording call out to him to see if he's okay, if he needs any help, just to double check, which, you know, that's very nice of them. Unfortunately, instead of just a regular casual encounter, this man suddenly turns into an absolute nightmare. The man begins to move towards the people recording, but not in a normal human way, in a creepy, crawling way that would make anyone feel absolutely disturbed. Was this just a creepy person trying to freak someone out, or was something a little bit more paranormal at play? And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have the graveyard ghost. Okay, I'll be honest, this video doesn't take place on a trail or in the woods, but it does take place somewhere equally as creepy, and that is a graveyard. Perhaps one of the creepiest places on Earth. It isn't quite clear exactly where this graveyard is, but the person who took the video had initially gone there because they apparently had been hearing some strange noises coming from the cemetery for several days. I feel like if I had heard a strange noise coming from a cemetery, I'd probably call the police, or Ed and Lorraine Warren. The last thing I would ever do would be to take it upon myself to investigate. The curious video taker is clearly braver than I, because they went to explore and definitely found more than they had bargained for. I have absolutely no idea what this thing is, with its elongated limbs and creepy posture. I'm not sure how the person taking the video was able to stand there for so long, but I feel like fight or flight really took over in this case. Was this a ghost, a demon, a zombie? Honestly, at this point, the possibilities are endless. Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have the forest encounter. Being in the woods at night is never not scary. Even if you're an experienced outdoors person, there is just something unsettling about the secrets the woods like to hold. This video is absolutely no exception to that. This video was taken back in 2006 in the Catalonian forest, where 2 men and their families were on a camping trip. I'm not entirely sure what led up to the men taking this video or why they were walking around the forest at night, but regardless of how they got into this position, what happened next is something I'm sure they will never forget. As they walk deeper into this forest, something catches their attention. They see what looks like a mysterious creature on top of a tree branch. As they see the creature, they obviously stop walking and are filming it, scared for what it might be. The forest is of course full of dangerous animals, so it's always good to proceed with caution, but I'm sure these men had no idea just how scary this creature was about to become. As the light from the recorder shines on the creature and the men try to get a closer look, the creature turns its face to look directly at them. The creature's eyes glow in the light with a human-looking head but an inhuman-feeling aura. The men quickly book it out of there, and I have to say, I would do exactly the same thing. After experiencing something like that, I don't think you could ever catch me in the woods again. In our number 9 spot today, we have the skinwalker in the woods. This creepy video was posted to TikTok by the user Adrian Montenegro02, and it was supposed to be just a casual video showing a camping trip with their family that they were taking near Monterrey in Mexico. It should just be a nice casual fun family trip, right? Wrong. Of course not. This video shows the family all hanging out together, with one member being pushed on a swing by a couple other members. This is all fine and well, but it's what's in the background that really has viewers concerned, and definitely had the family freaking out when they reviewed the footage. In the back, you see a creepy figure moving around. This figure is pale and human looking, and it just moves around quietly, like it's trying not to be seen. Is it hiding from the family? Is it planning something sinister? After posting, many viewers began putting forth their theories. Some believe the figure seen in the back is a skinwalker, while others believe it is someone who lives in the woods waiting for their moment to strike. At the end of the day, whatever this thing is, it is sure unsettling, and all I can ask is, why is it watching this family's vacation? In our number 8 spot today, we have Bigfoot? Would this list truly be complete without the sighting of a supposed Bigfoot? This video comes from 2015 when a man named McCamey reported seeing a strange, unexplainable creature hiding in the woods. McCamey was kayaking in a swamp close to Tampa in Florida when he heard a noise, and then he began to see some strange movement. He started recording what he thought was likely a bear or a similar kind of animal, but as he got closer he realized that something more unusual was going on. The creature began to navigate through the alligator-infested water with ease, and it began using its arms to swing through the branches, which is something that isn't really commonly seen with bears, as far as I know. Some people believe this video is a hoax, while others believe this is full-blown proof that Bigfoot is alive and well and living in Florida. What do you think? In our number 7 spot today, we have a cult meeting. This next video comes from a group of friends who were on a casual hike, enjoying themselves, getting some fresh air and exercise, but little did they know they were about to stumble upon something a lot more sinister than a typical day outdoors. As they are hiking on the trail and up a hill, they look back and see some kind of weird secret cult or secret society type meeting. These people begin walking, dressed in white robes, and while that obviously isn't any kind of a crime, it's bizarre, to say the least. The person who took the video also posted another video of this strange encounter because these people didn't just look creepy, they were also making creepy sounds. I can't tell if the sound is music, singing, chanting, screaming, I'm not entirely sure, but whatever it is, it was all creepy enough for these guys to stop their hike, record, and post it on the internet for all of us to watch and wonder, what exactly is going on here? In our number 6 spot today, we have the backyard horror. This video starts off with someone recording in their home. We quickly find out that the reason they started recording is because they noticed something strange in their backyard. Never a good way to start off a video. He apparently was hearing weird voices coming from outside of his house, and of course wanted to record as he investigated, and well, good thing he did. He turns the lights off inside so that he could see what was going on outside better, and, well, absolute nightmare fuel ensues when he does this. As he turns the camera to the dark backyard, he suddenly sees a human-like creature come darting towards him. The figure appears to have come from a bush in the backyard, and who knows how long it had been there for. What is so creepy to me is that this creature clearly knew he was looking into the yard at this point, so I want to know how long it was there for, watching him through the windows. Also, what the hell is that thing? Let me know.
In 1931, rangers in the Rocky Mountain National Park discovered a pair of leather shoes protruding from melting snow at extreme altitude. These shoes were unlike modern footwear. They were handmade and stitched using techniques consistent with prehistoric construction. Further investigation revealed fragments of clothing and tools nearby. Carbon dating later confirmed the items were over 8,000 years old. What baffled researchers was the elevation. The site sat far higher than known habitation zones for the time period. There were no known trails, no campsites, no evidence of long-term settlement. Rangers helped archaeologists document the site before weather destroyed it. The discovery suggested ancient humans traveled much higher into the mountains than previously believed. Even today, researchers cannot explain why someone would have been in that location with such limited resources. Fire lookout towers exist in some of the most isolated places in North America. Multiple retired lookouts have shared the same story independently. Strange lights appearing in valleys at night. Not campfires, not vehicles. The lights moved uphill, changed direction suddenly, and disappeared when observed through binoculars. Weather data confirmed no storms, no aircraft, no nearby roads. One lookout reported the lights approaching the base of the tower before vanishing entirely. These reports were logged as unexplained visual phenomena and dismissed as fatigue. But the consistency variety across different parks and decades is what unsettles people. Many of these accounts come directly from ranger and lookout AMA threads. In the southwest US, park rangers frequently monitor old mining claims. Most are collapsed, some are sealed. One in particular was left untouched for years. Rangers reported a strong smell coming from inside the mine. Not rot, not animals, something chemical. When they finally inspected the entrance, they found modern gear inside. Flashlights, batteries, food wrappers, rope. The mine had no registered claim and no legal access trail. Law enforcement later advised rangers not to enter due to safety concerns. No follow-up search was conducted. Former rangers on Reddit have stated that some abandoned mines are quietly flagged as do not enter sites without explanation given to staff. The equipment inside was never removed. The ranger said the first thing that felt wrong was how organized it was. In 2018, a backcountry ranger in Northern California was tracking illegal camp activity inside a protected wilderness zone. What he found was not a homeless camp or a survivalist shelter. It was a hidden settlement made of multiple camouflaged structures spread across several acres. There were food caches buried in waterproof containers, trip lines made of fishing wire, lookout positions built into trees, and handwritten schedules showing patrol times for rangers. The camp was abandoned when discovered, but still warm. Law enforcement later identified it as part of an illegal operation involving illicit substances. But what made it even more disturbing was how long it had gone undetected. Rangers later admitted similar camps had been found in other parks, some with booby traps, some with warning signs written directly to rangers. Several rangers have since confirmed that they are trained to back away immediately if they encounter these camps alone. In 1977, park rangers hiking a remote section of Death Valley National Park made a discovery that made no sense. Embedded in rock high above the valley floor were the fossilized remains of a whale. The bones were massive and clearly marine. Geologists confirmed the fossils were millions of years old from a time when the area was underwater. While the explanation is geological uplift, the site itself was completely surreal. Rangers described standing in desert heat, staring at proof the land was once an ocean. The site remains one of the strangest visual discoveries ever documented by park staff. In 2006, rangers in Yellowstone National Park discovered an untouched campsite buried beneath layers of volcanic ash. The site contained cookware tools and clothing, arranged as if the occupants had simply vanished. Dating placed the campsite in the mid-1800s. There were no human remains. The ash layer suggested a sudden natural event forced abandonment, and rangers worked with historians to document the site. No records exist explaining who the campers were or where they went, and the campsite remains preserved as a snapshot in time. The ranger said he knew something was wrong before he ever saw the bodies. In July of 1999, park rangers in Yosemite National Park responded to reports of a missing woman who had been last seen camping with a friend. The search area was deep in the park, far from the main tourist zones. When rangers reached a remote area near Cedar Lodge, they discovered the remains of two women, and the scene showed clear signs of violence. At first, the case appeared isolated, but within weeks, rangers were called again. This time, the victims were a family of 3. The crimes shook the Park Service. Rangers began working with the FBI and local law enforcement. Patrols were increased, campgrounds were quietly monitored, visitors were not told the full details. The evil person behind these crimes turned out to be Carrie Stainer, a hotel maintenance worker who lived near the park and knew the terrain well. He used backroad ranger access routes and isolated trails to avoid detection. Rangers later confirmed that Stainer had been living and moving through the park unnoticed while working maintenance jobs nearby. He blended in. He knew when rangers patrolled and when areas were empty. The discovery of the bodies only happened after someone went missing. Until then, there was no sign anything was wrong. After his arrest, Stainer confessed, and for many rangers, this case permanently changed how they viewed remote areas of national parks, not as empty wilderness, but as places where someone could hide in plain sight for years. This story comes from Reddit and reads, quote, "I once escorted a church group, ages young kids through adults, on a weekend overnight outing to a camp in the Poconos. The camp was set at the confluence of 2 streams and was somewhat rugged. The group had lots to do, climbing wall, boating, hiking, sports, all kind of stuff, including a nature center and little museum. The nature center had interactive displays, fish tanks, small animals, etc., and a touch table, a large wooden table with sides on which was scattered all sorts of artifacts the guests could pick up and handle. These items included deer antlers, bones, turtle shells, feathers, arrowheads, and pottery, rocks, seeds, nuts, tanned hides, etc. Little kids especially loved it. All of the items were found by guests or staff while out in the camp and returned to the nature center. I handled the items also, and I noticed one bone had a really odd shape. I am an environmental scientist by profession and an outdoorsman and naturalist for fun, and can generally recognize what bones came from what parts of what animals. This bone was a human mandible, the lower jawbone of a person. It was severely worn smooth and had no teeth, but easily recognizable as such. It had been there for years, handled by thousands of people, and no one noticed it, or at least reported it. I reported it to the director, who removed it and notified the state police. They investigated it. It seemed very old, and no one was reported missing in the immediate area, so the camp was allowed to keep it. Possible explanation: the facility was the site of a timbering and ice harvesting camp up until the 1920s, and may have been the remains of a worker who died and was buried right there, but who knows the real story, and as far as I know, it's still on the table. In 2013, park rangers patrolling Wrangell St. Elias National Park in Alaska were alerted to exposed bones melting out of a glacier. What they expected to find was a partial skeleton. What they found instead was the remains of a woolly mammoth, so well preserved it still had tissue attached. The mammal had been locked in ice for thousands of years. Rangers documented tusks, hair fragments, and sections of muscle. What confused scientists was the position of the mammoth. It appeared to have fallen into a crevasse suddenly. There were no signs of scavenging or weathering. Carbon dating confirmed the mammoth died over 17,000 years ago. The mystery was not just the preservation, it was how quickly the animal appeared to have been entombed. The evidence suggested a sudden, catastrophic freezing event. In 1970, park rangers in the remote forests of Oregon stumbled upon something extremely dangerous and completely unexpected. Hidden beneath layers of moss and debris was an unexploded Japanese balloon bomb from World War II. These devices were launched from Japan in an attempt to carry explosives across the Pacific using jet stream winds. Very few were ever recovered. The ranger who found it initially thought it was scrap metal. Only after noticing strange wiring and a corroded explosive charge did he alert authorities. Bomb disposal teams confirmed the device was still live even after decades in the forest. What shocked rangers was how far inland the bomb had traveled. It had landed miles from any known recovery sites. The area was immediately evacuated and the bomb was destroyed safely. The discovery confirmed that many balloon bombs likely landed in remote wilderness areas and were never found.
Staying within the woods for a short period of time for a little hike is all fine and dandy. What if you choose to stay there for multiple nights? By yourself? This camper is much braver than me and thankfully recorded his journey of a strange anomaly that happened to him on his solo trip. It was all fine in the beginning, until things began to happen as his journey progressed into the nighttime. Hearing some noises outside, he proceeds out of his camper with caution, only to notice the flickering of a light way off in the distance. Getting closer to it, he notices that it's a flashlight that wasn't left by him. Clearly, he wasn't alone in these woods. And I quote from him, "A flashlight just doesn't fall out of the sky." Taking a break and trying to compose himself, he steps away from the flashlight after taking it with him, only to come back and notice that it was turned on and moved from the original spot he placed it down in. You've got to be kidding me. I'd pack up and leave right after that. But clearly this guy was no quitter and proceeded to stay the night, even sleeping it off, before making it to the morning and leaving as soon as the sun came up. He was incredibly lucky nothing had happened to him, and I think it's better we never find out who or what was playing this sick joke on him, because for all we know, it could have been someone with not so great intentions. Being able to catch a real ghost on camera has and always will be one of the greatest achievements of our lifetimes. Whenever I go hiking out in the woods, I always like to record my findings, but I don't know how I feel when it comes to much older buildings. The man recording this video seemingly comes out of the brush after hiking for a bit and stumbles upon a church. I don't blame him for wanting to record, as old-style churches are incredibly beautiful and intricate in its design. However, as it pans down to get a view of the whole building, we see that there is a woman there watching him film. probably wanting to introduce himself and maybe explain why he's taking a video. It only gets all the more scarier as the woman disappears completely as he turns the corner. And I do mean completely. The only logical explanation, if you would call it that, is that she had gone through the wall itself. It was never explained who this girl was, and the hiker never sees her again after that. But if it was truly a ghost, I personally wouldn't stay any second longer in that location. Were you the type of child that liked to run on all fours? Or would you run up the stairs like a dog or a cat? I definitely was, because it was fun, silly, and harmless. Would you say the same if it came to seeing it outside in the darkness? Seeing this video definitely freezes me in place, as we clearly see what may appear to be a child or a woman standing on all fours, aggressively shaking their head in an unnatural way. If I were to come across this and saw that thing down the trail, you better believe I'm turning in the opposite direction. I am not playing here. Not to mention the way it's standing, how all its limbs are completely straightened out, not like how humans will have a natural bend in their knees or arms when placing themselves in this position. If this came running towards you at full speed, what do? I think my heart would stop, and I'd give up and let the creature take me. Maybe it'll raise me as one of their own. Who knows? Now these next group of guys are smart. You always want to stick together as a group when exploring forest trails in the dark. And even better that they have bikes. All the more easier to get away from whatever could be chasing you within the dark, confusing landscape of the woods. This one you really need to slow down and watch carefully, because you might just miss it. It all happens so fast, mainly because of the speed that these guys are tearing up. But right at the beginning, you can see our main guy with the GoPro swerve out of the way from what appears to be a figure dressed in all black, with the only clear area of skin that's shown is its hand. The creature seemed to also completely unbothered, especially when two bikes had already passed. This strikes me as very odd. Not even a single reaction coming from the anomaly. Some speculate that it was some sort of witch, which isn't a bad guess, and considering the tattered, long black clothing that they were wearing, which stereotypical cartoon witches wear. I've only heard stories of unknown creatures running across the front of a car of a dark trail, and I'm glad it's only that I've experienced. With the lack of streetlights and only being dependent on the soft glow of your headlights, who knows what you'll find out there within the comfort of a dark forest. Right as the car turns the corner, we see far off into the distance of what appears to be an incredibly large beast bolt across the street, as if they're the ones being surprised by the sudden appearance. Are you kidding me? I'm terrified of you, pal. You're the size of 6 of me stacked up. And if you look closely, were those two tails I saw? Or antennas? Exploring woodland trails in the dead of night is not for the faint of heart, especially when you come across anomalies that your brain simply cannot make sense of. We know what a dog looks like, and we know what a pig looks like, but what happens when the two of them are combined together? The person who uploaded this seemed to have the same questions, keeping a close following on the strange animal that you see in the video. What's striking about this weird creature is that it almost looks as if two of its body parts do not belong together. Its head is much bigger than the rest of its smaller body, and the coloration of its fur does not match at all. There is a clear stripe that goes down its head, but stops immediately at its neck. And that's extremely unusual. This spliced creature seems to also carry its prey with ease, not tiring in the slightest despite its size comparison. If you come across its path, would you also be brave enough to follow it? At least with animal-like anomalies, our brains can easily categorize the creature as some sort of species that maybe hadn't been discovered yet until that very day. But what if it was a supernatural monster that looked eerily similar to a human? Taking a nighttime ride on their bikes, a group of guys come across this eerie person-like form, except they are completely bare from head to toe, without even a speck of hair on their head. This is not at all like a normal thing to come across in an open area. I'm getting extremely uncanny valley vibes the longer I look at this thing. The way it carries its arms and how it walks, and not to mention the slow turnaround it does when it's approached by the bikers. Extremely bold of them, might I add. It almost unironically reminds me of a Ken doll, completely stripped of everything that remotely resembles a normal human being. Something is just not right about this video. And like the two bikers in the beginning of the video, you will not catch me sticking around to find out what that thing is. There is something magical and almost fairy-like about wanting to walk around in the woods in a delicate nightgown and maybe some braids in my hair and flowers. But in the daytime, not in an absolute pitch black forest where I can't even see 5 feet in front of me. Environment and atmosphere is everything when it comes to photography, and this trail cam photo definitely nailed the taking of Deborah Logan look. As you can see, this still image shows what may appear to be an older woman walking through the woods at night. I say older because of the vintage nightgown, which I totally don't own myself. The owner of this trail cam is unknown, and I think that makes it all the more scary. Where did it come from? Who is this strange woman? And will we ever find out why she's out in the woods by herself? All I know is I hope she's all right. Having the safety of a car when traveling alone at night definitely brings me more comfort and ease knowing that there is at least some sort of barrier between me and whatever may be out there lurking within the darkness. An account named Creepy Outdoors on TikTok uploaded this video online, showing what appears to be a solo hiker trying to enjoy a peaceful night alone out in a forest trail. Now, I'm not the one to judge, but you should always make sure to have someone with you when you're being this brave. Throughout his journey, the man felt off and decided to end his journey early. However, finally making it back into that safe barrier of his car, he started to hear a strange knocking coming from the back window. This happens multiple times, and the second time sounding more urgent and slightly aggressive than the first. Finally being taken out of freeze mode, the hiker goes to investigate, only to find something he truly wishes he didn't see. A handprint is outlined on the back window, only it wasn't a human, as he lightly outlines with his finger of its rough shape. Thankfully, the TikToker is safe and nothing else came out of this encounter. But still, what could have possibly been knocking that much to get his attention? Especially if it wasn't a human that was doing it. I truly do believe there are hidden secrets that our Earth holds from us, and whether it be from the government or something completely out of this world, I aim to keep an open mind about them. As my jealousy exceeds me, these two hikers were given the opportunity to catch such a sighting. Or so they claim. They appeared to be in a canyon of sorts, and seemingly had stopped in the middle of their journey because they allegedly saw a door open on the side of a hillside wall. This is actually disturbing because as they zoom in on the hill, you can actually see a door-shaped cutout within the rock. I feel if I do look at it long enough, my brain will start to make me think, or make me see it opening and closing as well. My guess is, there's gotta be something sort of secret base in there if what they're telling us is true. Now I want to go out there and find out for myself. But like always, only in the daytime, and maybe with 5 to 10 friends supporting me.
From Reddit user I'm an effin' turtle comes the story of the howling. My dad used to go camping at his grandfather's as a kid. Now there were bears in the area, but Grandpa didn't take no crap. My dad had watched this man chase off bears with a pitchfork. One night they headed to the tree line for firewood, caught some eyes flickering in the flashlight beam. No big deal, except they were around 12 feet off the ground, and although they couldn't make out the details, the thing was massive. And even though bears will stand on their hind legs, my dad said something just felt off, and there was a terrible putrid smell that suddenly appeared. His grandpa fired a shot off, but it didn't even flinch. Then it roared. My dad said it sounded like a lion's roar mixed with a woman screaming, but its head didn't seem to move. At this point, my grandfather had told my father to effing run, but his voice was so shaky and choked it took him 2 tries to get the words out. They booked it back to the house over a mile away, which was impressive for the 70-ish-year-old man, who was white as a sheet, shaking for the next couple hours. They heard the howl one more time an hour or so later. They never camped out there again. In February 2016, people living in Forest Grove, Oregon started hearing a sound no one could explain. It would show up at night, a long, high-pitched noise that some described as a mechanical scream. Others said it sounded like a giant flute playing off pitch. It lasted anywhere from a few seconds to a few minutes. People started posting videos of it online, and soon the whole town was talking about it. The city's fire marshal, Dave Nemier, said, "We don't think it's a safety risk, but we also don't know what's making it." The Department of Forestry checked their equipment, no issues. The gas company said there were no leaks. Pacific University physics professor Andrew Dawes tried mapping where the sound had been heard, but he said his results were inconclusive. The police got around 200 calls about this. By the end of February, the sound suddenly stopped. The last report came on February 27th, and after that, silence. About 5 years ago, a Redditor called Poor Judgment shared a story about something that happened while working deep in the forests near Temiskaming Shores in Ontario. They'd spent their whole life in the woods, working as an ecologist, and had always felt comfortable out there. But that changed on one particular job. They and a coworker were sent to collect data in an old logging area that hadn't been touched since 1995. The drive-in took them down a rough, overgrown road full of mud pits, until eventually they had to park and walk the last half hour in on foot. At first, everything was normal. It was just another work day, until both of them started to feel uneasy. The Redditor said their chest felt tight, like they were being watched. And then their coworker suddenly said, "I have a terrible feeling about this place." Not long after, they both started hearing voices. Two people talking somewhere in the trees. The problem was, there shouldn't have been anyone around for miles. The voices faded in and out for a few seconds at a time, then stopped completely. As they kept walking, they noticed trees snapping and bent in weird ways. Some spots had a single tree broken in the middle, while the rest were untouched. And there was this creepy circle of evergreens around crushed poplars. He attached images to his post, which we're showing you now. Steve and Beth Lee thought they were finally settling into the quiet life they'd always wanted. They bought a cabin in Black Forest, Colorado in 1991. Steve had fallen in love with the area years earlier while driving trucks through the state. Beautiful pine forests, fresh air, and the peace and quiet. It made him feel at home. But that calm did not last long. Within weeks of moving in, strange things started happening. The Lees would come home to see flashing lights moving around their living room, which Beth said looked like the 4th of July. They heard footsteps across the roof, chains rattling and lights flicking on and off. Even worse, the house sometimes filled with a chemical smell that burned their throats. Steve assumed it was someone messing with him, so he installed motion sensors, alarms, and cameras. But none of this helped. The alarms went off more than 60 times, and every time police came out, they found nothing. But the Lees had captured some pretty strange footage on their property, including this video of a bizarre orb. In 1995, desperate for answers, the Lees reached out to the TV show Sightings, who sent a crew to investigate. The show's psychic, Echo Bodine, immediately said she sensed a man's spirit inside the home and 20 or more others in the bedroom. During filming, Beth suddenly felt pinned down by an unseen force, and a camerawoman collapsed crying, saying something was, quote, inside her. Later, Steve noticed there was a beam of light pointed at his head in a photo that had been taken. The next morning, he woke up with a painful lump there. They also contacted a Hopi shaman who called the property a rainbow vortex, a supposed doorway between worlds. Decades later, the Lees still reported lights, voices, and faces appearing in mirrors. This next story comes from Redditor Genesis Pro Tech, who said he joined a search and rescue effort for a group of missing teenagers who hadn't returned from a camping trip. Since he and his friend knew the area well, one of their search and rescue buddies asked them to help. The two of them set out on foot, heading deep into the forest in the direction the teens were last seen. They hiked for hours, about 35 kilometers in, before things started to feel off. The deeper they went, the stranger it got. They started seeing sticks carved into spears, jammed into the ground, odd markings carved into tree trunks, and a child's stuffed toy hanging from a noose high up in a branch. None of this made sense. This spot was far from any road or hiking trail. What really got to them was how fresh everything looked. Whoever had made it had been there just a few hours earlier. Still, they were focused on finding the missing group, so they pressed on, set up camp for the night. The next morning, as sun came up, Genesis Pro Tech noticed a torn piece of fabric snagged on a tree and some footprints nearby. Looked like they were close, but before they could follow the trail, their radio crackled. The missing teens had been found 20 kilometers east. They were relieved, but then they're like, well, wait, what's all this weird stuff we've been seeing? They hiked back out of that forest fast. From a now deleted Reddit user comes a story about a terrifying encounter in the Appalachians. They write, hiking solo through the Appalachians. I'm halfway through my 5th day and everything's great. I'm happier than I've ever been. I decide at some point to set up camp and cook some food. I lay down and read for a bit till I fall asleep. Next thing I know, I'm awake and it feels like it's around 2 or 3 a.m. I hear this stomping and breathing outside my tent. It's obviously human, a man. He's stomping in a particular pattern. Of course, I'm crapping myself at this point. I'm clutching my sleeping bag, almost crying because I've read way too much disturbing stuff in my time. Then I hear a low voice say, hello? I don't say anything, which was a mistake, because I guess he thought no one was home. He starts grabbing for the zipper in the dark, and I flip out in a fit of complete hair-raising terror. I felt this horrible nightmare feeling as I jump for the zipper and start screaming, trying to act like a killer psycho to scare the guy off. Luckily, it worked. I hear him run off into the forest. I cried and left as soon as the sun came up. Just after Christmas in 1980, something strange happened in Rendlesham Forest near 2 US Air Force bases in Suffolk, England. Around 3 a.m. on December 26th, airmen stationed at Royal Air Force Woodbridge saw what they thought was a plane crash in the woods, bright lights descending into the trees. But when they went to check it out, they didn't find a plane. What they saw was a metallic object with flashing colored lights moving through the forest. One of them, Sergeant Jim Peniston, later claimed he got close enough to touch it and believed it was a, quote, craft of unknown origin. He also said the animals on a nearby farm went into a frenzy. By daylight, the airmen returned to the same spot and found 3 small marks on the ground in a triangle, along with scorch marks and broken branches. 2 nights later, Deputy Base Commander Charles Halt went into the forest himself, taking radiation readings and recording everything on a micro-cassette tape. In his memo to the Ministry of Defense, Halt wrote that they saw, quote, 3 star-like objects that moved rapidly in sharp angular movements and sent beams of light down to the ground. Halt, even decades later, stood by what he saw, saying it was something not from this world. In the early 70s, people living around Mount Hiba in Japan started reporting something wandering through the forests. A creature they began calling Hibagon. It was described as a short, stocky humanoid about 5 feet tall, covered in dark brown or black hair, with hands stained white like they'd been dipped in clay. Some said it looked more human than ape. It moved like an animal, but had an almost aware expression, like it knew it was being watched. The first major sighting came in July 1970, when a group of hikers said they saw it standing by a cedar tree. Newspapers picked up the story, describing it as a gorilla-like beast, and not long after, a farmer named Shoichi Ueda reported seeing it, saying it glared at him from the edge of his field before disappearing into the trees. Over the next few years, sightings spread through the area. One driver said it ran across the road in front of his car. Another said it left behind huge footprints near a rice paddy. By 1974, the Hibagon had basically become Japan's own version of Bigfoot. But then, just as suddenly as it appeared, the sighting stopped. To this day, no one knows what people were really seeing in those woods. In 2022, a team of Chinese scientists found a giant sinkhole in Guangxi, China. And when they rappelled down 630 feet, they discovered there was an entire forest at the bottom. 130-foot trees, and there were 3 cave entrances carved into the walls. Chen Lixin, the expedition leader, said the plants were, quote, as high as a person's shoulders. George Venny, a U.S. cave expert, said, "I wouldn't be surprised to know that there are species found in these caves that have never been reported or described by science until now." So there you go. Instead of something being found in a forest, just an entire forest discovered in a sinkhole. Pretty cool.